Spoon for Dotty, day 27, and Joe May is in Cambridge at CB2 Cafe. And I'm Sarah Spins Stories, and we've been doing some spoons and some stories. I'm going to tell an Inuit story which I learned from Marion Leaper of Cambridge Storytellers, and we're here in Cambridge to do it. Once upon a time long ago there was a boy, and his mother and his father had gone out into the ice one day on a kayak and had never been seen again. And so the boy had to go and live with Grandma. Now Grandma was old, and Grandma was bent, and Grandma was lame, and Grandma was also a bit deaf. What? What did you say? But that was fine because Grandma was kind, but Grandma was not a good cook. And so when the boy came home from a long day and he heard her stirring the stew in the kitchen, it didn't smell as good as it might. And so his stomach often rumbled uncomfortably, and he wished he had better food to eat. Now near Grandma's house lived Uncle, and Uncle was a good cook. And when the boy came home, he had to pass Uncle's house, and Uncle was sitting outside with a big ladle, stirring a pot of stew. And it smelt good, and it made the boy's stomach rumble and his nose twitch. And he said, "Oh, Uncle, that smells good." But Uncle said, "Eat your mother's taily bone," which is a terrible thing to say. So the boy went to Grandma and he said, "Grandma, Uncle said to me, eat your mama's taily bone." And Grandma said, "What? What did you say?" And the boy said, "My uncle said, eat your mama's taily bone." And the Grandma said, "Ah, if he said that, what you must do is say to him, push your sister in the ice." He said, "That's a terrible thing to say. I can't say that." Grandma said, "Yes, you must say, push your sister in the ice." So the next day, the boy was walking home and his stomach was rumbling and he was hungry. And he smelt a wonderful smell of stew that tickled his nose. And there was Uncle sitting outside his house with a big ladle stirring a pot of stew. And the boy said, "Ah, Uncle, it smells good." But Uncle said, "Eat your mama's taily bone. Eat your mama's taily bone." And the boy said, "Push your sister in the ice." And this enraged Uncle, as you would expect. So Uncle leapt to his feet. He dropped the cauldron full of stew and he took the ladle full of hot stew and he ran after the boy. And the boy ran. And Uncle ran. And the boy ran faster. And Uncle ran faster. And the boy ran towards his grandmother's house crying, "Grandma, Grandma, help me." And Grandma said, "What? What did you say?" And the boy said, "Grandma, Grandma, help me." And Grandma began to come slowly and painfully out of her house. But the boy had reached the house and he leapt up onto the roof. And Uncle started to climb up after him, still waving the ladle full of hot stew. And Grandmother came out of her house and saw what they were doing. And the boy was climbing up the roof, and Uncle was climbing up after him, but Uncle was close to the boy and was just about to grab his ankle when the boy jumped. And Uncle jumped, and 3 drops of hot stew fell from the hot ladle. 1, 2, 3. And the ladle fell from Uncle's hand, and Grandmother too jumped, but rather slow. And as Grandmother jumped, she cursed. And they all hung there in the sky. There was the boy, there was Uncle, there were the 3 drops of stew, 1, 2, 3, and there was the ladle. And behind them, there was Grandmother. And they're still there. And you can see them in the night sky, in the constellation that's called Orion. That's the end of the story. There once was a spoon that lay in a drawer. It had lain there so long it had forgotten what for. It gazed at a dish high up on a shelf. A splendiferous dish up there by itself. The cat looked up too at a fiddle hung high along the bowl that had long been laid by and hung on a nail not far from a shelf. The cat flicked its tail and stretched her fur shelf. If the fiddle would fall, she purred to herself, or I climbed the wall, perhaps by the shelf. I'm sure I could play it. How hard is the fiddle? Something simple and folky like Hey Diddle Diddle, a diddly-dee tune falling off a log, or Hey Molly Walkies, that would cheer up the dog. The dog was a sad dog. It wasn't a bad dog. It once been a glad dog. What had happened to that? He lay like a glum dog, a dog with no fun dog, a slow, sad sack slum dog, his chin on the mat. The dish on the shelf had ideas of its own. It's not that it minded being alone, just that some things are more fun with 2. It looked at the spoon and thought, could it be you? Of all the cutlery drawers, in all the dressers, in all the kitchens, in all the world, you had to wash up in mine. The spoon gave a shiver, a quake and a quiver, a bit of a dither. Shall I give up now? A dish of that troop, so far above me. How could a dish love me? I'm only a spoon. We come by the dozens. I've scores of spoon cousins. If we had just desserts, I'd end up in the soup. But the teaspoons all rattled. The knives were embattled. The fork said, "Oh, fork! Is that how you talk? If you never try, your life will pass by. Thinking of crawling won't teach you to walk." The spoon cried, "Will you match me?" The dish called, "Just catch me." Just at that moment, the cat decided to jump. The spoon caught the dish. The cat had its wish as the fiddle and bow came down with a thump. Dish said, "Shall we run? Wouldn't it be fun to stay in this kitchen and make it less glum?" The spoon said, "Let's do it. We'll put our backs to it. And now we're together, we both can renew it." And so in the kitchen, they all had a dance. The cat played the fiddle. The dog played the bassoon. The veg danced the pig. It was all they could wish. They were over the moon. For the love of a spoon and a dish. For the love of a dish and a spoon. For the love of a dish and a spoon. These spoon for Dotty spoons say, "Give us your forkloads of money